lived in Connecticut, and my dad had a lot of issues. And so when we were 5, and this had happened numerous times, but my dad had a habit of beating us. And he beat my mother and I. He beat us so severely that the police came to the house, and they called Catholic Charities. And my grandparents paid for my mother, my brother, and I to come to Chicago. So what had happened during the day, Catholic Charities and the police came, and they kidnapped us. A few months later, we woke up one morning, and my mom was gone. She had, for some reason, decided that she just couldn't take life and living like this with children and no husband. And I went to bed crying. My grandparents were crying. None of us knew what was going on. When I was at the age of 8, my mom came back with husband number 2. She was there for months. When the second husband left again, we woke up and my mom was gone again. So that was the second time that my mom had deserted me. After the age of 8, with my mom leaving the second time, as I started getting older, I started becoming bitter and angry, and I started hating my mom. What had happened was, at the age of 14, my mom had had a brain surgery, and when she was coming out of the anesthetic, husband number 3 heard my mom talking about her children. And at that time, my grandfather was dying from cancer, and my mom got me and my brother. She took us and started becoming mom and family to us. But it did not work out successfully. It ended up being horrible fights. We would get in such fights that there was even physical issues that would happen. It was just complete hatred. And in my heart, and it's sad to say that any way I could hurt my mom, I tried to do it. To make a long story short, I got married at a very young age with my mother's consent, because she was glad to have me gone. My husband, actually, Terry, was my knight in shining armor. When we were married for 7 years, my brother had invited me to come to a Baptist church. And I went there on a Sunday morning, and I heard the preacher speak. And he, said a message that I can't even tell you what it was. All I know is that I went up to the altar crying, knowing that I needed Jesus, and that for the first time, I had somebody who loved me for no matter what I had done. And as I was studying the scriptures, I realized that God's commandment said, honor thy father and thy mother. And there were no buts after it or any exceptions. And I realized that I had to go to my mom, and I had to tell my mom that no matter what she did, I forgave her for it. And that if God could forgive me for all of the things that I had done, including to her, I had to forgive her. When I was able to go to my mom and tell my mom that I forgave her, there was such joy, because I had carried around with me for many years anger, revenge, hate. I hated for the sorrow, the times of crying, of not having my mom there. And when I went to my mom and I told her that I forgave her, there was such a sense of release and love for my mom that I just couldn't wait to be around her. I wanted to spend time with my mom. I wanted to have the years restored that were taken from me, that I could be with my mom. And God did it. He gave me what I asked for. He gave me many, many years of joyous times with my mom. And now I'm having it with my dad, who's 85 years old. And I pray that he comes to know the Lord. And that's the hope we have in the Lord, that we can go from hating people, even our own parents, to praying and hoping that they come to know the Lord and we share heaven together. That's what forgiveness can do. Even though my mom deserted me in the middle of the night and left me, and my dad deserted me for over 30 years, the Lord never deserted me, and he was my mom and my dad to me. And in the midst of it all, he was the hope, the extreme hope that I had, that he was always there for me, and I was never alone. My name is Diane, and I am a story of extreme hope.